Is this anyone's hat back here? Green Black Swan Arts Festival hat?
Oh.
The city's now.
There we go.
Is there a reason why Channel 11 is here?
You want to?
Is there a reason why Channel 11 is here?
What's on our agenda that's causing?
It was going to be a quick one. I don't know. Planning on another one of our.
What's the draw for the?
Oh, okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Pardon me? Oh. Our agenda looks pretty slim tonight. I was just curious.
Yeah, scooters will be a bigger topic at the next meeting.
I kind of figured that.
Bill, you're on the transportation committee. Oh, it's community.
But it's
I'm looking over to the president of council there in the middle, so to give you.
Yeah, I got no scooter to.
The committee, the public hearing isn't until what, next meeting? Yeah,
Well,
next
18th
meeting.
at 6:30 is when the public hearing is.
Yeah. I tried to ask him if I could just go to that one,
You could answer some questions afterwards about what will go on during the public hearing.
Yeah, sure.
A teaser.
A teaser. Absolutely nothing of substance. I'm your guy.
but.
But, yeah, the public hearing's not even.
Okay, so
We won't
that
act on it
is-
until after that public
Mark.
hearing.
That's the market.
It's live.
Okay. All right, is everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you everyone for being here this evening. Jody, could you call the roll, please?
Dennis.
Here.
Harold.
Here.
Hollenbaugh.
Here.
Robinette.
Here.
Rabando.
Here.
Okay, the minutes from our June 21st meeting were distributed prior to this evening. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Right,
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
as a formality, I would like to make a motion that council hire Jody Sickler as clerk of council.
Second.
We already did that, Bill.
No, we didn't.
We did. We already hired Jody.
Perhaps a recollection of our conversation last week and what you requested me to do.
All right, we have a motion and a second to hire Jody Sickler as clerk of council. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Jody, do we have any correspondence?
There's no correspondence this evening.
Okay. Lobby visitations. Do we have anyone signed up for lobby visitations this evening?
We do.
Okay.
David Wilson.
Mr. Wilson, if you could please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is David Wilson. My address is 208 Eberly Avenue. Just a few comments. I know things will come up here, but it'll obviously go through planning commission as well. So some of my comments are kind of collateral between here and there. So I'll be short and as brief as I can. This proposed revised zoning code agenda and draft plan has its merits, but the proposed rezoning of the entire R2 district with the embedded M1 to be rezoned possibly to a B or B2 as a bar or business within the current district is not what the residents bought, own, or live in or want. This sliver of land could be and should be transformed and redeveloped into a harmonious residential site to integrate with the neighborhood. Thus, the end result would either be accept a forced social experiment changes to the existing district or just exit the district or even the city by us residents. We obviously have no real say in this matter, it appears, or decision. You as a city surely will politely listen to our comments and our concerns and then do what you have already planned to do, thus forcing us to either take legal steps to bring the public's attention to stop it. We've moved into an R2 district to be an R2 district. We've been there for decades. And now all of a sudden we're going to be changed to a BR or something like that without even any opportunity to really take us seriously for the investment in our neighborhoods that we've had. At this time, the city administration, city council, planning commission members, it's time for them to become responsible adults and engage their moral compass in this matter for the residents that live in this whole district that's being considered to be totally changed. We can't, go on with the different things where the social platforms allow keyboard warriors to, make inappropriate adolescent comments and remarks. It's not right. And especially city council people should not be on social media making these kind of comments. Tact is for people who aren't witty enough to be sarcastic. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, to just direct and to the point. We just need to take us seriously. We're taxpaying citizens and residents, been here forever. And we didn't move into an R2 district to be changed without any say in the matter. I appreciate you listening to what I have to say. We're going to bring it up at the planning commission meeting. More citizens will start showing up and expressing their opinions and their concerns as well. Okay. I've got this. I'll give you guys a copy of what I just said if you'd like a copy.
All right. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Mr. President, I feel like we have an obligation to correct some of the misstatements of fact and encourage citizens to look at zoning code, which is available on our website.
Now, if you feel the need to say something.
Are there any specific issues, any differences between the PR district and the R2 district you currently live in that you are taking issue with?
I'm sorry.
What specific issue do you have with the PR district that is not already present in, the R2?
The R2 has certain ordinances that are more controlled for the R2 district versus what would become a PR, and changing everything from like Poe Road to Sandridge Road and that whole area to try and rezone this to a PR. Why do we need to be changed from an R2 where we have ordinances that we've moved into and already have abided by as residents and invested in the neighborhood as an R2 district already? And then we have the one embedded M1 district, which was there obviously years ago. The railroad ran through there. It was an industrial area. The railroad tracks ran through there. I understand that, but that could be redone to make it more harmonious with the R2 district and residential versus taking it more to B2s or things of that nature. There's other ways to do it. I'm doing that down in central Ohio right now for a village down there. We're changing a 42-acre site, putting it back to residential, which more blends with the neighborhood. It's not a high dollar, high rent community, but we're putting it back to where more of the residents can live and live in the same type of an environment.
Well, discussions will occur on this topic, both in the planning commission as they weigh the issue and after their recommendation to city council as we deliberate this.
Right. And I know city council, I know city planning commission, they're doing that and they'll make the recommendation, but then obviously city council hopefully takes their recommendation seriously hopefully you will take consideration, all of us that do live in R2 district. And,
All things will be taken seriously into consideration.
okay,
So thank you very much for your time
Yes.
this evening.
thank you.
Yeah, Mr. President, may I just add, just please give the system a chance to work, because, some of your concerns, I heard the planning commission mention, you were at that meeting when
Yes, sir.
and I think some of your questions were already being asked and thought about by the planning commission. So let them go to the meetings. They're going to have a public hearing. You'll get a chance to have your say. And when it gets back to council, of course, we'll have another public.
Sure.
hearing. And so there'll be ample opportunity for public input. But I wouldn't be so. Nobody's made up their mind. Planning commission is still struggling with how they're going to proceed. I haven't talked to anybody on this council who said they know how they're going to
Sure.
decide on any of these issues. So let the system work. I think your input's important, your neighbors' input, everybody's.
Sure.
But just let it work.
And I think the planning commission chairman, he's obviously aware of, and I think they're probably looking at doing a smaller area to try something like that instead of taking it globally, I think so.
But my point is, those questions are being asked by them,
Okay.
right?
That's
So,
all we ask for, is we need to take us serious too. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any other lobby visitors this evening?
Mary Hinkleman.
Mary Hinkleman, Executive Director of the Bowling Green Chamber of Commerce, 217 South Church Street. And I am here this evening just to give a big thank you to the city of Bowling Green. Personally, I know what we undertook doing the BG Boom Festival and fireworks this past Sunday could not have happened without the help of all your departments, all the way from the logistics meeting, the fire department. Chief Hetrick, thank you for your police helping. Oh my gosh, they got traffic out of those parking lots so quickly. I've received a lot of comments that it went very smoothly. Public Works, I wish someone was here from Public Works, because wow, what a efficient job. They sneak in like little elves at night and get things done. They did a fabulous job. And then we had Mayor Mike out there and Lori. Dana, she disappeared out helping the kids with the games. It just warms my heart to know I live in a community like this that rallied around and supported it. Literally thousands of people showed up for that festival on Sunday and stayed for the fireworks, and it was amazing. And I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you very much. Jody, do we have anyone else?
No one else.
Okay. That brings us to the introduction of new legislation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Urbando.
I have an ordinance from the Parks and Recreations Committee. Ordinance authorizing the Public Services Director to contract with Penchula LLC for improvements at Carter Park associated with the Inclusive Playground Project.
Okay. All righty. Brings us to official reports, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Council. I really don't have a report, but I did want to, as Mary did, comment on the BG Boom Festival that took place this weekend and the fireworks. But I want to thank Mary. It was an unbelievably successful program, at least from my perspective. I was out there for a little bit, and it appeared to me there was just a terrific community response to this. There were activities for the kids. Everybody was entertained. The weather was great, food trucks, and then the community band played, and then the fireworks. It was just a great day. And Mary, that really is due in large part to you, your group, all the volunteers that contributed some time. It was just a terrific event, and I'm so thankful that you were willing to take on that task. It was a big task, and you got it done. So I am really excited for the future of that event. It's clear that Bowling Green loves their festivals. I've said it before, I'll say it again, but they really do. And this is another, I think, a shining example of how our community can come together to present these options for our citizens. Mary mentioned the city employees, public works, and the police and fire, and everybody that contributed. But again, I think all credit goes to Mary. Mary, thank you for your work. It was really great, and we're grateful for everything that you do. So that's all I have, subject to any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for the mayor this evening?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Municipal Administrator, Ms. Treader.
Good evening. Prior to the meeting, I handed each of you an application for a revised designated outdoor refreshment area in downtown Bowling Green, commonly referred to as the Dora. I do want to note that what is before you is a draft. It will be updated a bit as we are getting in compliance with the state's requirements for their applications. They have changed them a little bit, actually made them a little bit easier. You will see another draft of this, but we wanted to quickly go over what we are submitting to you and talk about the legal requirements that are the next steps in this process. So the revised application continues to be for the downtown area. And as a reminder, the city's first DORA was established in 2020. So this application is amending that DORA that's already in place. And some of the highlights to the proposed changes are an expanded footprint, which is provided to you on the large map that we gave to you and in the application. This would expand the current area on South Main to include the parking lot, which is just east of Clough Street. If you went to the Firefly Nights Festival, that is where they've located the food trucks that is used for other areas as well, including the farmers market. And so including that in the DORA has been recommended. And also an expansion will be along Wooster Street to the east, taking it to Prospect on the south side. So the corner of Wooster and Prospect, where the business of the Stones Throw is located. On the other side, on the north side, that would go to the community commons area and through there. And then there are other parcels, as you'll see on the map, that are included and changed to make it a contiguous area. We are also recommending and suggesting in the application that the timing of DORA be expanded to year round. Currently, it is from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and this extension would allow for year round with one exception, and that is to suspend DORA on the weekend of the Black Swamp Arts Festival, which is held the weekend after Labor Day. Now, you may be wondering why we're making that request. We met with representatives of the Black Swamp Arts Festival and the Special Improvement District to ask for a recommendation on this. Both of those partner organizations do recommend that it not be held during the festival weekend. And there are several reasons why, but the primary one is that you have a different footprint for the Black Swamp Arts Festival than you do for DORA. So if you have a DORA footprint that is smaller than the Black Swamp Arts Festival, then you have, confusion in there because of the DORA. We also understand that businesses in general, we hear great feedback of the impact of the Black Swamp Arts Festival on downtown. And so our businesses are doing very well. And people that go to restaurants, which our restaurants are often very crowded, will continue to receive that business, certainly throughout that weekend. People that want to come in and dine and have a sit-down meal, and if they decide to take in a adult beverage, will do so on that weekend. So that is the proposal that we are putting forth to you. We are also adding, and this isn't part of the application, but just so that you know, the interest in DORA from our downtown businesses continues to grow, and the application chart has several additional businesses who will be planning to seek that on their application, their liquor application. If they are already in the DORA footprint, they can actually go ahead and do that now. And we have given them that information to work with them so they can expand that here. We do want to tell you that the DORA has been successful. It has not been a concern in terms of safety nor in sanitation, which are two things that are monitored in the DORA district. And our feedback from the Special Improvement District, from our downtown businesses, has been very positive since this has been in place. So the next steps also provided to you are that council, the legislative authority, needs to take action within 45 days of this application, and not earlier than 30, but not later than 60 days, you must hold a public hearing on this DORA application. We would suggest that you do that at your August 15th meeting prior to, perhaps at 6:45. You could get that scheduled, and then I will work with the clerk to get the legal notices that are required and get the application posted on the website within the time frame to meet the advertisements. So that it completes my report, subject to your questions.
All right. Are there any questions for Ms. Treader this evening?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, Mr. President. Regarding the carve out for Black Swamp Weekend with the DORA expansion, how are we going to handle, or have we decided or considered how we would handle any other festival that we have? A few recent examples would be Juneteenth, Firefly Nights, which I think was one of the driving forces that got us to DORA, which, as you said, has been very successful. Are we only carving out in the first weekend in the month of September every year, or is this an option that's going to be available to anybody else that would like to have a beer tent or beer garden?
It's a great question. Right now, if this application were passed as submitted, it would only be because you have to list the times in the application. So you'll see in the application, it specifically carves out the weekend after Labor Day, Friday to Sunday every year. So if it's in the DORA footprint, then they would be under the DORA at a different time. So anybody that wanted that exception would have to go, we would have to come back through this process to put it in there.
Which involves petitioning the state and going through that, which would be a huge, particularly if you're starting a new festival.
Correct.
I mean, would be a huge barrier entry. And I know we discussed this casually previously, but I guess I just wanted to call attention to another route that would be available to organizations like the Black Swamp Arts Festival, which would be to establish their F permit area in a DORA area, which would effectively nullify DORA for that area, correct?
Correct. If they wanted to establish an F permit, but how, we'd have to look at that intersection of the F permit and the DORA if it's a time when the DORA is in existence, because there are provisions in the Ohio Revised Code for those to work cohesively. And we know other communities, Sylvania does it. They have an F permit for, I think it's the Redbird Art Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Apologize if I got that name wrong, but I know they have done that before where they've had both permits running at the same time.
Which would then, similar festivals, other festivals would be able to apply for that same permit, and it would be a matter of granting that permit, and then they'd be done. That process would be effectively handle it all locally.
Right. If once you get an F permit approved by the city, which, as we've discussed previously, it is a bit awkward with how we can approve F permits on public property. It is a bit of an odd process here in Bowling Green that may be worth revisiting at some point.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Jody, could you make a note of that for a DORA public hearing on August 15th at 6:45 p.m. Thank you. All right, brings us to the city attorney, Mr. Marsh. Any questions for Mr. Marsh this evening? Okay. Public Services Director, Mr. Fawcett. Are there any questions for Mr. Fawcett this evening? Righty. That brings us to council committee reports.
Mr. President, the Sustainability Committee met earlier this evening for the purpose of receiving an update on the greenhouse gas inventory and the mid-year waste diversion report. I would encourage everybody to go back and watch Amanda's great presentation. There was a lot of great information. A lot of good news. Our cost per ton is down, and we have continued to maintain about 12.5 tons of biodegradable waste diverted through our food waste compost program, among other things.
Mr.
Mr.
President.
Robinette. It's an odd way to get my attention, but go ahead.
Well, it's the first time my tablet's ever rung. Mr. President, no, just a reminder that the Finance Committee will have a meeting at 6 PM at our next meeting, prior to our next meeting on 18 July.
Okay. Okay. Is that it for council committee reports? Brings us,
I suppose in that same vein, we have a community improvement committee meeting at 6:30 that evening.
okay. Okay, that brings us to the reading of legislation. Jody, could you lead us in the reading of legislation?
Legislation for first reading. Ordinance number 9016 for first reading. Excuse me. Ordinance authorizing the Public Services Director to contract with Ventura LLC for improvements at Carter Park associated with the Inclusive Playground Project. Okay. Legislation for second reading. Ordinance number 9015 for second reading. Ordinance creating section 123 of the codified ordinances of the city of Bowling Green concerning electric scooters, e-scooters.
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold.
as Jeff mentioned, there's going to be a community improvement committee meeting before our next meeting on July 18th at 6:30 to discuss this.
Okay. Go ahead, Jody.
Legislation for third reading. Resolution 3825 for third reading. Resolution adopting the estimate of revenues for the year 2023.
Mr. President,
Mr. Robinette,
I move to adopt Resolution 3825.
Second,
properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Jody, could you call the roll, please?
Harold.
yes.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Hollenbaugh,
Yes.
Robinette,
Yes.
Urbando,
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 3825 is adopted. Is there any other business to come before council this evening?
Mr. President,
Mr. Harold,
I move that we excuse Joel Odorizio and Rachel Phipps from tonight's meeting.
Second.
properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We are adjourned.
Want to get it in right on before 7:30.
Well.
Another quick one.
It's a good question. Could be economic